Let me welcome you to our program. Today we are looking at paper 2 type questions, and this is where we are going to use our calculators, and the space is going to be provided in our answer sheets to answer these questions. Be with us in our lesson. In our lesson today, we are going to look at different questions taken from different papers, and then we are going to study how we answer the questions, the paper 2 type questions properly. Now, the first question that we have here is saying, the figure below shows a rectangular field of length x plus 60 meters. Okay, this is the length of the rectangular field and the width of x meters. Now find in terms of x the perimeter of the field and its area. Now let's look at the figure. We know this is the rectangular shape. Now this field is in this shape. It has taken the shape of a rectangle. Now what are we saying here? We are saying in this figure we are given the length. We are also given the width. The width is the shortest side, and then the length will be the longest side. Now, what are we going to do? We are going to write this. We can see that this is written in terms of x, and then this means we are going to, whatever the answer that we are going to give here is going to be in terms of x. Like they say, find in terms of x the perimeter. Now we are going to write the perimeter of this shape in terms of x. That is leaving x as part of the answer. Now how do we find the perimeter of this shape, of this particular shape, which is our rectangle? How do we find the perimeter of a rectangle? Remember, the perimeter is the distance around that shape, which means we are going to add up all the distances. Remember, this part is also x plus 60, and then this part is also x, because these two are equal and these two are equal. That is what you need to remember. And then if you are looking for the perimeter of what? Of a rectangle, generally we are going to say width plus length plus width plus length. And then what are we having here? We can even simplify this and write perimeter is equal to how many widths? We have 2 of them. How many lengths? 2 of them. Can say 2L plus 2W. That is the simplest form of this formula. And then what are we going to use it for? We are going to use it for substituting the value of the length, substituting the value of the width, which is x. Now let's do that. We are going to say P is equal to, and then we have 2 outside, 2 multiplying x plus 60, x plus 60 there. And then we are also saying 2 is also multiplying L, which is our x there. And then let's simplify and see how much we are going to get here. We are going to say 2x there. That is 2 times x, because whatever that is outside the bracket will multiply everything inside. So this is going to be 2x, and then we have 2 times 60, which is going to give us 120. This is going to give us 120, and then 2 times x will be 2x. We can simplify this further by, this is 2x plus 120, not 12 there. That is 120, and then plus 2x. We can simplify this further by collecting like terms to ultimately get 4x plus 120. And this is our P. Let's see it clearly here. This is P is equal to 4x plus 120. And that is the perimeter of this shape in terms of x. And there is nothing you can do here, or there is nothing you can do to simplify this further. So you just leave it as it is. It's your answer, and we are happy that our perimeter there is in terms of x. Now what are we going to do? We want to also find the area. We are going to find the area of this figure. In terms of x, we are also going to find the area in terms of x. What are we going to do? We are simply going to remind ourselves of the perimeter, no, not the perimeter this time, but the area of this shape. This shape is called the rectangle. And then this is the width and this is the length. And then we know that the length here is x plus 60. And then we know that the width is x there. Now, area, we all know that the area of the width or of the rectangle, in fact, the area, if we want to find the area there, it will be length times the width. That is the general formula for all the rectangles. Now, what you do here is simply substituting the value of L there, which is in terms of x, x plus 60. That is x plus 60. And then this x plus 60 being our length is going to be multiplied by what? By x. Then we multiply by x there. And then we know how to do it. We are going to simply do this. We are going to multiply that x by everything that is inside our bracket. X times x will give us x squared, and then x times 60 will give us 60x. That is it. What is this? This is the area of a rectangle, this particular one. That is, now we have two things here. We have the perimeter of our shape there, which is our rectangle there, and we also have the area of our shape. That is, this is the expression in terms of x of what? Of the area, and this is an expression in terms of y of x of what? Of our perimeter. That is the perimeter of our shape. This is the expression for the perimeter, and this is the expression for what? And this is not equal sign, sorry for that. We are going to say plus there, and this is x squared plus 60x, and that is our answer. That is how we can write the two, the perimeter and the area. Now, when we come back from break, we are going to do the other question here. Let me welcome you from break, and we are looking at the last question in this part. That is the last part of this question, question number 1. If the perimeter of the field is now 360 meters, find the value of x. Now, what does it say? It says if from here you move along this length, you move along that length, you add that length, you add another length, and then you come to this part. You have completed the distance around the shape, which is our perimeter, is 360 meters. What are we saying? We are now going to find the value of x. We have x there, and then remember, we already have what? We already have the what? 4x plus 120. What is this? The perimeter. And then we can take it from there. Let's take away this so that we can have enough space. We are going to try and work on finding the value of x, because we know that we have the expression in terms of x of the perimeter, and then we are also given the perimeter of our shape. So we are going to say 4x that we got here, 4x plus 120 is equal to 360. Now, what are we saying here? We are equating, in place of that p, I put this because I know it's the perimeter. Now, this is what you should remember. If you are given this question like this, that is, if the perimeter, remember that you've been writing p here in terms of, that is p in place of the perimeter of this shape. And then we are given that the perimeter, this is 360 meters. Now, this is going to be 4x plus 120 is equal to 360. Now, we are writing this 4x plus 120 is equal to p, which is our perimeter. That is what you need to remember. And then we can solve for x, it is very easy for us to solve for x. 4x is equal to, this is going to be 360 minus 120, because we know that since this is added, 120 is added, we can subtract 120 both sides to solve this equation. And then 360 minus 120, how much are we going to get? That is 360 minus 120. How much are we getting? We are getting 240. That is 4x is equal to 240. Now, we are trying as much as possible, as much as we can, to find the value of x. That is to reduce this equation so that we end up solving it. Now, let's see. We have 4 this side. We can divide by 4 both sides because we want to make x the subject of formula. That is how we can find the value of x. And then we are going to cancel there so that we have 4 here and 4 here, 6, and 4 into 0, 0, and then this is going to be 60. What is this? This is 60 meters. This is 60 meters. Now, that is the value of x, and then you will be able to find the actual length for the rectangular field there. That is, if they may ask to check if you know the actual length. Now, not in terms of x. We are going to say this is going to be 60 plus 60. And then what is 60 plus 60? It is 120 meters. That is from here, from A there to B there, we are going to get 120 meters. And from here up to there, we will be getting 60, because that is the value of x. That is the value of x. Now, let's continue and look at other questions. We have solved this question, and then we can move on to other questions. We have another question here. It's a very, very simple one. We can do this one without any difficulty. We are simply going to solve the equation. Here we are given a very simple equation that we are going to solve. Now, in this equation, we need to know that we are solving for the unknown variable, and our known variable here is x. This is common, and then there is no difficulty in solving this. So you are going to get it in an exam, because this is very easy. Now, we can see that we have 3x this side. We also have x that side. But the question is saying solve the equation. In other words, solve for x. We need to mention this because if we are solving the equation, you need to know that we solve for the unknown variable that is given in that particular equation. Now, we have x there as our known variable. Now, this one is on the other side, that is on the right-hand side. We need to bring it this side. We need to bring it to this side so that we have 3x plus, because it's minus that side, it will be plus x. And then we can take this, that is what? This is what we call collecting like terms. This is x, the x term. This is the x term, and then we are collecting them to the left-hand side, and then we have 12. These are constant terms, that is terms without variables. And then we are going to take that, since it is positive, when it gets to that side, it will be negative. And we have collected like terms. That is the first step that you need to take. And then we simplify this to 4x, because 3x plus 1x will be 4x, and this will be 10. That is 12 minus 2 is going to be 10. And then we divide by 4 both sides so that we can get the value of x. We are actually making x the subject of formula here. We are making x the subject of formula. So if you make x the subject of formula, then it means you are going to get the value of that. This is 10 over 4, and then we know that 10 over 4 is, we can write it as 2 and 2 over 4. Or we may write it as 10 over 4 or 2.5 or 2.5. We may simplify this to 2.5 or 2.5. That is our answer. It is 2.5 or 2.5. We'll be right back. I welcome you back. Let's look at another question here that is going to be there in paper 2. Now, we are saying work out 480 divided by 0.08. Now, this question may come out in paper 2. Even in paper 1, we can have such questions. Now, it is easy to get the answer here because we are going to use your calculator. We are not going to waste time with these questions when you are in paper 2. You simply press your calculator and then you are going to say 480 divided by 0.08. This is paper 2. You are going to get the answer there, 6,000. The answer here will be 6,000. That is paper 2. But now what if this question now comes in paper 1? Just to remind ourselves of how we can solve such questions in paper 1. We may just remember that that is where we don't have a calculator, but let's just, we are doing paper 2, but we really need to know how to work on such questions when you are not using that computer. Now, we have 480 divided by this. This is the same as, you can say 480 divided by, you can even change this to a fraction if you want. That is divided by 1, 2, that is 8 over this, over 100. And then we know that if this is a fraction and you are dividing, let's say you are dividing this fraction. I'm just making this fraction because this is rational. I can make it a fraction like what I did here. 480 divided by, so that I can work with fractions. And I know that if I divide a fraction by a fraction, I'm simply going to multiply this. This is going to be 480 divided by 1. And then in that, this one, the second fraction, which is, it's going to be 100 over 8 there. And then we can cancel. Cross cancel, that is 8 here, 1, we can have 8 here, that is 8 into 48, 6 times, and then 8 into 0, 60, and then this is 60 times 100, we simply add the 2 zeros, and this is going to be 60,000. So you should know that this is how we can work it if we don't have a calculator, and then you still get the same answer. You need to develop such skills before you get to an exam. Now we are going to simplify here. We have 3x plus 5x minus 2x minus 2y. This is 5y, not 5x. 5y. This is 5y. And then we want to simplify. The question says simplify, which means this is going to still be in terms of these two unknown variables, that is x and y. It will be in terms of x and y, but we will have, how many terms do we have here? 1, 2, 3, 4. And let's see how many terms will be left after simplifying this. Remember, we collect like terms, 3x minus 2x, and then we have 5y. This is going to be 5y minus 2y. And then we have collected like terms. This is a very important step in our mathematics. We need to collect like terms. That is, we need to bring all the like terms together and simplify them. 3x minus 2x, we want to simplify, it will be 1x. And then if it is 1x, we just write x there. And then 5y minus 2y, we are going to get 3y. Can we simplify this further? No, we cannot simplify this further, which means this will be our answer, x plus 3y. That is our answer there. And then we can see that such questions are going to be common, and then we are going to see quite a lot of them. You need to know how to simplify. And then we have another question that says 6 over 7 times 2 over 3. We are still going to simplify here. Minus 8 over 21. Now, how can we simplify this one? We are simply going to say 6 over 7 and 6 over 7 times 2 over 3. And then you still have to remember what we used to say, BODMAS. And then we know that multiplication here comes before subtraction. Subtraction is there. And then what are we going to do? We simply say, we can still cancel. This here, 1. This here, that is cross-cancelling, will give us 1 there, will give us 2 there. And then we have 4. That is, we add brackets here so that we can multiply first to follow BODMAS. That is important. Very, very important. And then we are going to say 2 times 2, we get 4. And then we have 7 times 1, we get 7 there. And then minus, then we can subtract that one, 8 over 21. It's 21, and we know that 21 is a multiple of this, which means if you are looking for the LCM here, you are going to get 21. 21 is the LCD or the LCM, that is the LCM of the denominator. And then we are going to say 7 into 21, we get 3 times 4 there, and then 21 into 21, 1, and then we multiply it with 8 there. And then when we simplify, we're going to get 12 minus 8, because this is going to give you 8, and then over 21. What is 12 minus 8? It's 4 over 21. So this is our answer, and then we have simplified. What we have done here is to actually look at the right thing to do. That is, we had a minus sign here. We also had what? The multiplication sign. Where are we going to start? BODMAS. And then we are going to start with the multiplication sign. That is, this multiplies that. After that, we are going to subtract the last one. That is how we are going to work with our BODMAS. And then the answer that we got for this one is 4. That is 12 minus 8. You simply simplify what? The numerator, so that we get 4 out of 21. That is all we had for today, and I hope you have enjoyed the lesson. Until we meet again in the next lesson, have a nice day.